Hello everyone, and welcome to my weekly finger drumming live stream, Tuesday night finger drumming. This is the fourth Tuesday I'm doing this, almost a month old. Yeah. Today is not going to be like last week's metal or gent performance. This is more about just filling you in about the latest development in the world of finger drumming, especially in my world of finger drumming. So I'm going to present some of my unfinished ideas and some of my finished ideas as well. Like my first idea I'm going to present is that I slightly adjusted my layout, basically just moving my 4x4 playing grid or shifting it a little bit, because as some of you know, in during my finger drumming performances I've been using these orange pads to switch between different melodies. And because they're right next to my playing surface, I kept hitting them accidentally all the time. So now I'm experimenting with this different or slightly different method where I leave these four, like the four orange pads adjacent to the yellow ones. These don't do anything, kind of like a safety zone. And I moved the 8 melody switching pads to these 8. And now I'm just getting used to this somewhat different position. Not a huge difference, one might say, but still. So now I'm going to just show one of these ideas I mentioned. And I think after that, the next one going to be a new song. Is kind of like I think a proper instrumental song, kind of prog metal gent thingy, which I hope to release as a YouTube video later this week, but I just haven't had enough time or just haven't practiced it enough to be able to pull it off perfectly. So let's see what this is about. By the way, if anyone can hear or see me, then please let me know. Hey, Granite27. How do I mount my pad? This is a Gibraltar GEMS or GEMS, GEMS mounting station, I think it's called, or something like that. I've seen this. I've seen quite a few finger drummers using this. I think ROLI. I think she uses this as well, but I'm not quite sure. And also one of my favorite finger drummers, Rick Feds, that I saw this stand in his videos. That was the first time. Hello, Mails Letters. And because I have to do some adjustments, like probably I will do some, I will explain this in some Instagram posts. I think that's probably the best platform for these. So basically the bottom part of this stand was identical to any kind of drum stand, like hi-hat stand, and it was I think it's called single braced, and I replaced the bottom part to double braced, much more sturdy and heavier bit, because this whole stand, like I keep hitting my Launchpad quite hard, so it kept moving and bouncing and everything. So the two things I did to prevent this was, one of them is replacing the bottom part of the stand to the double braced bit, and just to play some drums while I'm speaking. And the other thing is that there are these K-brakes anchors, kind of like it has this kind of very sticky rubbery bottom, and I just put the 3 legs of the stand into, well, only two of the 3 legs of the stand into these kind of sockets, and the bottom part of those sockets kind of like is it just stuck to the ground basically here. And now this is like, it's still doing this wobbly thing, which can be a bit annoying, especially when I hit the resonance frequency of this mechanical system, and it just keeps wobbling more and more. But other than that, this doesn't move, this can't move at all anymore. And this was like a huge problem when I got this stand. At least for my technique, it was like really annoying how quickly this whole thing just bounced around. And obviously where exactly I positioned the Launchpad, like the angle where I shift it along these axes, it's quite tricky to get this balance right, like to minimize this kind of wobbliness. Yeah, I think I'm quite happy with what it's like right now, but I might need to tweak it a bit more later. Anyway, I'm going to play something. I hope I remember what it is. Yeah, thanks for watching and listening. This is one of the many ideas I've been working on the last week or two. Yep, just a couple of little ideas here. Not sure how to continue with this. So I might be able to finish this at some point. But a lot of these ideas end up being in some kind of USB drive until eternity. However, the next one I'm going to show you in a few seconds is in a much more mature state, I think. Well, I still can't play the whole thing just yet, but I have a pretty good idea of what the structure of the song will look and sound like. Did I count when playing? No, not really. However, I'm obviously somewhat familiar with these. Like it wasn't improvised, wasn't fully improvised. These were ideas I've already recorded before, so they're more or less in my memory. But I'm not sure about. It sounds pretty odd, but I haven't actually counted what exactly it is. I like those long sounds a lot, which can be heard while you hit the notes. Yeah, that's ROLI's Equator 2 software synthesizer, one of my go-to presets. I really like this kind of contrast when doing this kind of hopefully pretty tight rhythmic thing, like drums and bass and everything, and just put these really slow and clean and lots of delay, lots of reverb, these nice pads. I like this kind of contrast between the two parts, and yeah, I've loved this thing. Like, not saying this is anything super unique or anything. This is just something I love doing, and I've been doing this for many years. And yeah, the next one will be similar in this regard. Although, so here I'm basically using the same sounds I used last week for the metal gent performance. So now, instead of that synth pad, I have this clean guitar sound. Yeah, but the same concept. Let me just quickly remember what this song sounds like. Okay, I think I got it. think it wasn't too bad. So this is something, hopefully, like I'd like to release it this Friday. I just need to practice it a bit more. I'm quite happy with this kind of song structure as it is now. I just can't play it flawlessly yet. And you might have noticed that I missed this snare quite a few times. I think that might be because of this shifted layout now. So I'm still adjusting to this. Or maybe it's this mic. I don't know. So how did you like it? I'm so happy. Like I think it less than 2 weeks ago when I kind of came up with this set of sounds. Like how this drum kit works together with this bass and the distorted guitar and this clean guitar. I think this clean guitar is a sound I put together last week, like last Tuesday, like I don't know, like a few hours before the live stream. And I'm having so much fun with these sounds. Yeah, I might actually play this again if you don't mind, because it's just so much fun to play it. I want to ask, how much did you have to practice for being able to play without constantly checking with your eyes which button to hit? And thanks for the previous answer. You're welcome. So I guess this is one of the advantages, probably, of using these smaller pads, smaller Launchpad pads, because a lot of finger drummers are using larger pads, like on the Machine or Machine and MPC style pads. So because these occupy quite a small space, like the whole 4x4 thing, like I don't need to move my hands like this. I just need to keep hitting the same pads. So I guess my brain, or the human brain, is pretty good at memorizing these positions. So I don't think it took a lot of time at all to like it took some time to experiment with the exact layout, like where I put the kick, why I use this kind of mirrored layout, which fingers I use for hi-hats and kicks and snares and this kind of stuff. That took quite a bit of experimentation, but once I figured out what my preferred layout is, I never need to look at this 4x4. What I still do need to look at more is these kind of melody switching pads, especially now that there's this safety zone. So this is quite far off from my muscle memory. So I definitely need to look, at least to, make sure that I'm hitting the right pad. Yeah, and that's why I'm not using any kind of color coding. Like once I made a finger drumming demo video for a company, and they asked me to make some kind of, to use different colors for the different pieces of the drum kit, and that's something like to me, like it doesn't help me at all. I know where my kicks are, and if you're a finger drummer, then you will know, like after a few days, you will know where your kicks are. Unless, I guess, when you're using a larger kit, and I've seen some folks experimenting, some using. Well, this could be one of the big advantages of the Launchpad over the 4x4 pad controllers, is that there's a lot more pads. So I could actually assign a different piece of the drum kit to each of these 64 pads, and there's definitely a lot of potential in there, I think, but it's just so much more practical to keep the drum kit limited to this 4x4. For example, it's very easy to shift it to this part then, or this part, or use two different kits here. So if I use a bigger drum kit, then the whole thing will be just, much less flexible. And then this whole color coding and memorizing what's where, I think that becomes much more important. Yeah. Should I play this again? I love playing this song, so I will start playing, but if you're really bored, then just tell me no and I will move on to something else. Also because, so what else do I have left for today? Yeah, I've got an announcement a bit later, and then I might demo another early stage idea, but yeah, that's a very, very, just getting started with that one. And also I started building a custom electronic drum kit by sampling some of my hardware gear. Specifically, I've got an Electron Analog 4 synth, and also the Electron Analog Heat saturation, distortion, filtering, whatever effect unit. And I started building like an electric drum kit using those sounds, which I'm going to demo today, although it's also pretty in a pretty early state. Yeah, so I will try to play this one more time. Maybe without this time. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have played it one more time. I think the first one was much better than this one, but the final version will be even better than the first one. well, if I will manage to pull it off. Otherwise, I won't release it. Okay. So a little announcement here. So I guess some of you are aware that I have this Max for Live device I developed called nularmusic, which I'm using for, playing all these melodies while also playing the drums. Yeah, so the initial version of nularmusic I released was 0.6, and this week I've released a minor update, so it's at 0.7 right now. It doesn't add any huge new features. Basically, I've had some issues. The way it works, you need to edit these sequences, like what notes will be played if you hit specific pads, and you need to edit these, and then they can be stored into presets. Like this is one preset, and this is another one, and this is another one. You get the idea. And as a convenience feature, like there are explicit store buttons for storing the current preset to one of the available 8 banks of 8 presets. But that was really annoying, explicitly having to press those buttons whenever you make a tiny change, especially because I'm usually just keep switching between these presets while playing, and I always forgot to explicitly save a preset, so a lot of stuff got lost. So I'm really happy I integrated a feature back for the initial release, which automatically saved the previous preset whenever a new one was stored. So whenever this was loaded, I edited it, and when I loaded another one, the first one got saved. So this was super useful, super convenient, but just a couple of weeks ago I realized that there are some side effects, like there's some overhead of storing that preset, and I noticed that it caused 2 problems. One of them that the user interface of Ableton, it kind of froze for like a split second, but because I'm using multiple instances of this effect, nularmusic, like one for the bass and guitar, they share the same one here, and one for this clean guitar. And because I'm using the same buttons to load these presets for both instances, this kind of extra time it took to save those presets, this added up, and the more instances of nularmusic I used, the more I could see in Ableton that like the level meters froze for a split second, and this was a bit annoying. And what was more annoying, that actually loading a new preset took a longer time because of the previous one had to be saved first. So during performance, this extra convenient function was like had some clear drawbacks. So I implemented 2 things in the latest release of nularmusic. One of them is that so whenever I load the same preset again and again, which happens because an extra function this implements is like the sequence will go back to the first note. So I do use this fairly often. So when I do this, like reloading the same preset, then that kind of saving that preset doesn't occur because I haven't changed anything. And the other thing I implemented is that like when I load a different preset, then the previous one is still saved, because that's a really useful function, unless you explicitly disable this functionality. So I added an extra toggle button where you can enable or disable this auto store behavior. And during editing, during writing songs, it's super useful to have that auto store function enabled. And during performance, I just disable it, so I don't have to deal with this kind of slower preset switching because of the presets are silently saved in the background. So yeah, it's a minor update, but an important one. So if you want to give it a try, then you should find a link to it somewhere over my profile or YouTube page. But yeah, just ask me and I can paste it here as well. It's free. All right, announcement over, and now I'm going to quickly demo that custom drum kit I mentioned. Yep. So I didn't get too far with this project yet. I created a bunch of kick and snare presets, which I'm quite happy about, and also some really simple hi-hat presets, basically just some filtered white noise. And I've been experimenting with the velocity mapping, so that I'm not a huge fan of just using single shot samples for like one kick sample for your kick drum, one snare sample for your snare drum. I hardly ever do that because I find that not very inspiring to play those, because there's not a lot of variety as I play them. In contrast, when I play these multi-sampled acoustic drum libraries, these have velocity layers. So like if you hit it softer, that won't just change the volume or the signal level of that sample, it will change the timbre, it will change the sonic quality, which is how real drums work. Like you can't, obviously like a snare drum will sound different if you hit it hard or soft. And also even if you hit it at the same level multiple times, it won't sound exactly the same. There's this round robin sampling or random sampling. Basically they just record it multiple times like a real snare drum, which won't sound exactly the same if you hit it multiple times due to physics. Anyway, so basically I try to replicate this velocity layer behavior. Well, I actually wanted to implement velocity layering, so assigning velocity to different synthesizer parameters and make it sound pleasant, I think. I haven't finished this journey yet, but I think I got some promising results. So I've got that hardware synthesizer, and then I recorded those samples at multiple velocity layers or multiple input velocities, and then just put together a simple kit. So right now, when I hit this kick, when I hit it harder, it will only change the volume right now because I haven't integrated all those velocity layers yet. I'm using two different velocities for these two, so this should give you an idea. Like when I'm finished with this kit, then when I hit this pad softly, then you will hear this. It's kind of shorter decay or shorter release, and later, and if you hit it harder, then it will have this much longer release. And there will be like I think eight of these different sounds just for this one pad. Similarly with the snare. So this just changes the volume if I hit it harder, but I hope the end result will be more like this. Like when you hit it more softly, then it will sound different, like this. Yeah, and these are just some noisy hi-hats. So I'm just going to play a tiny bit with these, and then I'm also going to add some extra plugins, some distortion or overdrive or something on this, and just play a bit more with that. Just to please some of my fans, I added this. I added my favorite pad, synth pad here. Yeah, so I quite like where this kick is going. The hi-hat is very simple, that could definitely do with some work, and the snare, I'm actually quite happy with this because it's I find it really difficult to come up with like convincing, well, not convincing, because this is not about recreating a realistic acoustic snare sound, but finding new synthesized electronic snare sounds which I actually like or even samples. Like I can easily find a lot of kicks I like, but snares not really, and I quite like this. So one more thing I'm going to show you is what happens if I use some extra processing. So there's this plugin from Native Instruments called Driver. It's this weird overdrive filter distortion thingy, and I got it for free. It might still be free, not sure. And I really love it. It just it can behave really in a really chaotic way. So yeah, I'm just going to play a bit with this. Wow, this is really good. An industrial horror movie comes into my mind, if such thing exists, or you just created it. Yeah, this is not. I don't think this sounds. This is something I came up with. This kind of sound, like there are lots of industrial techno artists which use a similar sonic palette. One of them is called, I think, Orphex, which I really love. They really dark sound, dark techno sound with some modular synth and stuff. Anyway, yeah, I will continue with these vibes, just with this extra plugin I just mentioned. This. It's just I'm only hitting the hi-hats, and this plugin does this very nice envelope controlled, distorted, filtered something. hope you like this. I quite like it. But just to remember what it sounds without this external plugin. Actually, like, I have just a tiny bit of compression, I think, and maybe something else. Yeah, so this is what the raw, still some extra mastering stuff. This is what the actual samples sound like without any further processing. Yeah, so this is what this kit I'm building will sound like eventually. Just much better, I think. And I'd like to release it for free. Well, in the long term, hopefully, I'll be able to, you know, build lots of kits. But this is going to be my first one. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's it. That's it for today. That's everything I have for today. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be back next week. I'll be back next Monday for the Monday morning finger drumming live stream and chat. No, finger drumming practice and chat. Next Monday here on Twitch, and next Tuesday, like 1 week from now, both on Twitch and on YouTube as usual. And I'm not quite sure yet what exactly I'm going to play next time. Maybe it will be a status update like this one, or maybe I will go back to one of my previous sets, like the math rock set, and just build some new melodies and new sounds and use that. Yeah, let's see. So come back next week and you'll see. Thank you so much. I also really enjoy this part of my Tuesdays. Or our Tuesdays. Cool. Thanks for being here. Have a great week and see you next time.